Okay. This is Heather's live that she did. Was it a couple of hours ago? It was earlier this morning. I don't know what was going on. I always miss her lives. I figured because she did it at night, and I was probably asleep, and so I ended up getting it. But by the time I got the notification, I don't think she went to sleep. I don't think she went to sleep at all. But by the time I got the notification, it was almost the middle of the live, and you could not hear anything. And she was not reading comments, so this is what she was doing. She was pacing back and forth. You were getting dizzy. You couldn't hear anything. What you could hear, it was just aggravating. And just note how she starts the video. I'm gonna try not to talk too much because I'm pretty I can't stand people like Heather just because they're 10 feet tall and thick as fucking Snickers. They think that they can she made me pretty mad. I mean, she didn't make me mad, but anyone who brings my kids in, I immediately want to step up to them immediately. That's just, I will black the fuck out if anyone talks about my kids. So if it's in person, it's not good. And I've been working on it. I'm better. But she got really pissed off. She actually read my comment, and I guess that pissed her off, because the truth was revealed to her, and Lord knows Heather can't fucking listen to the truth, hear the truth. She doesn't want anyone else to know the truth because she thinks it's gonna everybody already knows. Anyways, this is her stupid live. Notice how she wants to show her butt off before such a serious conversation and topic. Crazy. It's crazy.
Good morning. Hello. My name is Heather. Some people call me Coco. Some people call me Senza. Let's talk. So I like to do my shit super informal. I'm going to talk to you guys while I do my makeup. And, that's what's up. So first of all, I want to talk about the law in the United States. When you follow someone around for days, months, weeks, even hours at a time, knowing that they don't want to be followed, what is that called? Trivia. What is that called? Stalking. Very good. Harassment. Very good. Absolutely. Good job, kids. So I want to put that out there first and foremost. Secondly, when you use someone else's likeness or steal their intellectual property, is that allowed in the United States? That's a real question. I'm not giving the answer. I'm asking. Is it legal for someone to pretend to be someone else using their likeness, their identity, their intellectual property, and posing to be them? Whether they're working for the government, a covert operation, or just for fun. Is this legal, ethical, lawful? Is this allowable? I'm not telling, I'm just asking. Okay, great. So the talk today is going to be about rape culture. If you guys have been watching my story, did you guys see the little post I made with the Google definition of rape culture? Look at all my cards. Spirit gave them to me. Anyways, rape culture is a culture that has been created that many people are not even aware of exists. It exists a lot in the nightlife. It exists in the day life as well, but mostly behind closed doors. These creep-ass perverts are not going to be blatant. Some of them are, but most of them are very covert. And the rape culture basically is a culture where men, disgusting men, and I am not a feminist, and I don't think all men are disgusting. And I'm sure there are some women, sit around and talk about and evaluate other people based on how they do sex, how well they perform sex. They excuse abuse sexually and make it seem okay. They make it seem acceptable. There are actually a lot of internet groups that these losers sit around in group message boards, identifying women and men who they have been intimate with or just pretend like they've been intimate with for clout, and talk about their bodies, talk about their mental health, talk about how good they performed certain sexual things, how large they are, how in shape they are, how small they are, how, how much, how bougie they are, if they're kind or not, if they, very, very vulgar things, among other character evaluations. Now, this is all part of rape culture, and it's very important because this is something that many people don't speak about. Many people don't know that it exists, and so they sit around quietly, pretending like, as long as I don't know or as long as I don't acknowledge, maybe it's just not real. No, it's real, okay? And it happens, and it needs to stop immediately. This is a big problem in the gay community, in the gay and trans community. We've got men who are in the closet, very interested in doing certain sexual things with gay and trans men. And I myself am very, 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 very much a supporter of the gay and trans community. I have seen, I'm sorry, I'm a straight woman. I'm actually asexual. I don't really like sex. I'm a little traumatized, but I'm a huge supporter of the gay and trans community.
All right, I'm gonna see if you could even hear it. I had to walk away, so I wouldn't talk.
It happens to everyone, but it is a big problem that goes undiscussed in the gay and trans community. So I just have to point that out. But what happens is these men who are in relationships or carry political, weight, they have their face out in the public all the time. They have a large following.
Why is it so low? It is not just me, y'all.
Or rappers or whatever. It doesn't matter. But they have a large following, and a lot of people listen to them. So they become extremely paranoid. And in a lot of cases, these men have money, and they can afford to hire people to shut these sexual partners that they've had up. And in doing so, they kill them sometimes, and if they don't kill them, it's very much like what I've experienced in my own personal life. After being beaten and sexually abused, when I tried to go public with a lot of my stories, I was labeled as quote unquote crazy and silenced. And I know a lot of women have gone through the same thing. So while I'm opening up, the table for discussion on this subject, which I think is a very, very important subject, there are a bunch of different areas I want to cover. And forgive me, but this is an area of conversation that I can't really conversate on. So I'm just going to be talking. I'm not going to be monitoring any of the comments. I'm literally just going to be talking. This is my first time publicly speaking about this in detail. And I know there are going to be haters. I'm not worried about it. It's more important for me to get the message out and the topics out, and then people.
Okay, thank you. Everyone's saying they can't hear, so I'm not the only one.
Can further discuss this with their own peer groups, etc., and so forth. But a part of rape culture
is freaking ridiculous.
Not only that, but it's also normalizing women or men showing their bodies, and only not normalizing. What's the word I'm looking for? I can walk into a room of people people in a G-string and a bikini, and that group of people won't even bat an eyelash. Hey, what's going on, Heather? What up, Coco? How's it going? Everything's fine.
What the fuck?
I can walk into another room with a different group of people in a G-string and a bathing suit, and that group of people thinks it's okay to slap me on the ass, or grab my boob, or treat me like I'm a, quote, whore. That second room, that room is rape culture. And that shit needs to be canceled. When I say desexualize the human body, it doesn't mean don't have sex.
No.
It doesn't even mean don't be sexy. It means be respectful. It means engage in consensual behaviors. It means do what feels good for you that doesn't.
Oh, hell no, little girl.
Someone else, their comfortability, their boundaries.
I knew she still has Snapchat. She better just have it for her kids. She done deleted my ass.
Just because they look hot and they have a bathing suit on or they're wearing a short skirt deserve to be sexualized, touched, grabbed, or used for any sexual purpose that you intend. It's not your job to say what someone's purpose is, sexually or otherwise. It's not your job to touch someone. You're feeling horny? Go ahead and grab your own butt. Go home and deal with that on your own. You don't grab someone else. You don't touch someone else. And if that person voices
this is so
that
awkward.
they don't want to be touched, you need to respect their boundaries and walk away. Now, in my life, personally, I have been victimized numerous times. Unfortunately, the more susceptible, the more vulnerable you are, so the more at a lack that you are in, i.e. you don't have a stable home, you don't have a car, you need, whenever you're in a seeking state, so you need someone to give you a ride, you need money, you need this, you're more susceptible to predators.
It's like everything. She just described herself.
They know that. They know that. So again, poverty, lack, is a huge part of this issue, right? We talk about this a lot. Now, if you have nowhere to go to sleep, for instance, and someone knows that, and they also know that you're celibate,
this is so bad.
You don't have sex, you're abstinent, you haven't had sex for years. For me personally, it's been since 2019, December of 2019, or January.
Don't believe that.
And Dylan is the last person I had sex with consensually, of my own free will, and not out of obligation because I had nowhere to live or I was being threatened to be thrown back.
Oh my gosh, that was still your choice to do it.
Unfortunately, I was also raped by force during the last 3 years, as well as woke up with someone's fingers inside of my private area.
What the?
So I've been through a lot of shit, which is why I'm so grateful to be in my own space. And when I'm laying here at night sometimes crying, missing my family and my children so much, that's all I keep telling myself. Like, at least you're not in someone else's bed with nowhere else to go.
What the fuck?
Being subjected to God only knows what type of sexual abuse. But when it comes down to it, rape culture is a culture of accepting sexual abuse, a culture of speaking it away, of
I'm sorry, y'all.
with, well, she was asking for it. He was asking for it. Rape culture is a culture of making someone else's life less than yours, devaluing another human because they're different than you. Asserting power and control over another person who may be younger, more vulnerable, more susceptible to being pressured.
She really ain't looking at the dang comments, is she?
The use of drugs
Nobody can hear her.
I think that this dialogue is huge.
She's just messed up out of her mind trying to listen to herself talk. Y'all don't get mad at me talking while she's talking because you can't hear anything. She ain't saying much anyways.
Pass over it, but it's absolutely pertinent when you want to talk about things like mental health, when you want to talk about things like social justice, when you want to talk about things like poverty and criminal justice. This is a huge, huge part of that. Huge part. Anytime you're talking about one person or group asserting control or power over another group, it all comes down to the basic core fundamentals. Susceptibility, vulnerability, finances, they all of those are contributing factors to all of the victims. Most, not all, but 90%, maybe more, I would be willing to bet my life on it, of the victims in these situations need help. And I'm not talking mental help, I'm talking they can't find a job. They have nowhere to lay their head at night.
I can't.
So they're out here looking for help, and instead of getting help, they get abused. It's unacceptable. And if we're aware that it's going on, if the conversation isn't silenced, listen, you guys, I always say this. Why would a hater work so hard to keep someone quiet? If they were speaking nonsense, would they care? You know they're speaking real shit, real facts. When the world, instead of listening, tries to quiet them. Well, I'm tired of being quiet. I'm tired of turning my head the other way while innocent people die. You know, there was a story in the newspaper about
my gosh, this is so annoying. I can't.
It was in the newspaper, it was in Reddit, and it was on the news. And this man was targeting young trans men, women. Ew. I'm not really sure what's politically correct. No disrespect intended. But he was targeting these people, calling them over for sex, and killing them, and leaving a trail of them all across the United States. And I was shocked. I was shook. I couldn't even believe it. And then I started doing more research about it, and I realized that wasn't even a unique set of circumstances. That shit is happening, or was happening, frequently. Frequently. But why was I so surprised if it's happening all the time? Because we're hiding it. Why are we hiding it? Why are we hiding it? Why are we hiding it? We need to protect each other. We need to cancel rape culture. If a woman is walking, I read another quote the other day, if a woman is walking down the alley or down the street, butt naked, she still isn't opening the door for someone to have sex with her. And that's period. That's what I mean by desexualizing the human body. I don't care if a woman or man is standing there butt ass naked. Unless you get consent, unless you know, and you can feel. Let's not play coy here. You know when a person is into you and when they're not.
Let's not play
when
coy.
When they're asleep, when they're unconscious, they're not into you. That's a given. Unless you're married in a relationship and that's something you guys are into, if a person is asleep and you've never had sex with them before, you probably shouldn't have sex with them. You probably shouldn't put your finger in their vagina.
What?
You probably shouldn't. You know, you probably shouldn't. So, that's that. I don't care, you know, to discuss the names of the people that I've been victimized by, because to me, I know that they're getting what they deserve. You know, I know for a fact they're getting what they deserve. And like I say always, I'm not the boss, I just work here. But opening up this dialogue is very important, because if you are a person who's ever taken advantage of someone else sexually, I'm talking to you now. Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Are you having a problem finding intimacy with people who are awake and conscious?
Dude, she's being really disgusting right now.
On them crying and begging for help? What is it? And I'm asking honestly because I truly would love for you to be identified so that we could try to come up with some sort of assistance, because this seems like a big, big, big problem that because people are so embarrassed about, they won't discuss. Also, I've been made aware that people were using children, this is sickening, as bait for sexual predators. Even police using children as bait for sexual predators. Well, what happens, Mr. Officer, when you're using a child for bait and then you go home?
Sorry, I can't take
and
much
the
longer.
predator's friends go back to that child's house. Who's there to protect the child then? Cancel rape culture. Cancel rape culture. I would like to see a world where anyone can wear whatever they want outside. We can all respect our own boundaries. We can all act like grown-ups and keep our hands to ourselves.
Oh my gosh.
No one thinks that it's acceptable to have sex with anyone who doesn't want to have sex with them. No one thinks it's acceptable to touch anyone who doesn't want to touch them. That's the kind of world I'd like to exist in. When we're talking about mental health, when we're talking about anxiety, when we're talking about depression, we are not talking about chemical imbalances 100% of the time. And I'm not a scientist, and I don't have human brains that I've extracted dopamine and done clinical trials on. And I think that's really sick anyways, if you really want to get down to it. I think there's more
Oh my gosh.
fucked up desires behind some of these scientific studies than there are well-intentioned scientific studies. But that's from going through it. No one is a lab rat. But let's just use common sense while we discuss this.
Well, unfortunately, yeah, they are.
You get raped. Life has overlooked you. You're struggling for food. Does it not make sense that sadness, depression, anxiety are causal to those events? Question mark, explanation point. Does it not make sense then that if those problems, poverty, hunger, personal safety, if those problems were solved, anxiety, emotional distress, it would at the very least decrease in large numbers, right? Or wrong?
Sorry, I had a...
I'm just asking. Common sense says that many instances of quote-unquote mental health issues are causal to abuses endured. Cancel rape culture.
Well, that was interesting.